Yo, in this video, we'll be looking at creepy and strange TikToks that are going to make you question everything. Wendigo Hive destroyed. What is Wendigo Hive? That's a crazy explosion.
Oh God, just an update. It's up there, man. It's holy crap, huh? This is nuts. We gotta get out of here. No way. Oh God.
I wonder what that one was.
There it goes. Oh, watch it. Watch the building. There it goes.
Yo, what's today? 9 what? 1-1? Don't that look like something that happened some years ago, about 21 years ago? I'm just saying, man. Look at how that building just collapsed and everything turned into dust. And that was a big thing with the towers, was where did all this dust come from? Dust and debris. You know, and we were always wondering, like, how did a aircraft knock down such a huge building with all these steel beams? This was a planned demolition right here, right? You know, everyone knew that this was about to happen, and it basically just evaporates the building. It turns it into dust. What do you think happened that day? Because when the things crash down and you look at the ground zero, there's nothing there. A couple file cabinets, a couple chairs, but that's it. Where'd everything go? It just evaporated into dust. That's exactly how it looked that day too. That's wild. What is this thing? This thing look old, whatever they got. I mean, I know what that is on the inside, what the liquid is, but like, where'd they get this from? Egypt? Turning water into wine? Is that what's going on? Red wine? I need some red mercury. Look at that. What's that? Sun simulator. Oh wait, that's a different language. This is a solar simulator and has already exploded.
Watch till the end. Sun simulator explodes.
We are in Dead Horse, Alaska. This is one of my favorite sites because it always seems like it always produces stuff like that's just plain crazy and weird. So, and like I always say, you can go to this site yourself. Okay? Here we go. Check this out, guys. Okay, there's the first part of the craziness, and then we will advance. Okay? It shrinks down, which isn't normal. Okay? Blows up. Okay? I mean, that is not indicative of our sun. Our sun does not do that, because if it did, we would be crispy. Okay? Plain and simple. Okay, check it out. It even gets bigger. Check this out. Pow! Okay? Watch this. Seems like there's a little bit of a separation going on. Could be multiple things going on here, like our real sun could be actually behind it. The real sun is always behind the sun simulator, just so you know. The sun simulator is very close to our orbit, so just out of our atmosphere, because they want you to see that and not the real sun, okay? So that you don't see eclipses, so that you don't see maybe even, you know, a planetary system moving through it. Yeah, all that kind of thing. Crazy, okay? Keep watching. What in the world? Look at this. So we went from this to this to this to that.
Dang.
Okay? And look at this. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Okay? Unreal. Okay? Somewhat back to normal, I guess. Yeah. I'm going to filter a few things too, just to check on anything else back there. Okay? But look at this, man. It's just craziness. Yeah. And then they just threw some clouds in just to get rid of it. So you won't see any more malfunctions. Yeah. I mean, look at that. Look at that. That's just unbelievable. Okay. I'm surprised I caught it.
Y'all gotta check this post out right here. So my main reason for leaving fast food alone is due to the fact that they was always accused of mixing the meat down with mystery meat. But as you can see in this post right here, now you gotta worry about heavy metals being up in your food. And when I say heavy metals, I mean toxic, contaminated metals up in your fries, burger, and your sodas and whatnot. And I know a lot of people gonna say, not my restaurant, mine is clean. But as you can see in this post right here, is in 100% of the fast food spots that they check contaminated food. So I just want y'all to check this video out right here, y'all.
42 fast food samples from 21 restaurants across the U.S. were sent to a lab to test for heavy metals.
But unfortunately, 100% of the samples were positive for cadmium and lead.
What?
The study was done by nonprofit Moms Across America.
Yo, cadmium and lead, that'll have you out like sick. Like, you don't know what's wrong with you. Dang, and it's in the fast food. You know what I'm scared of is that, you know, they put this stuff in fast food, right? And fast food's making money or whatever, right? But what about like the public school system? What is in that food that they're feeding our kids every day, all day? What's in that food? That's what scares me the most.
They tested the top 20 fast food chains plus In-N-Out Burger.
And cadmium was the highest actually in In-N-Out French fries.
For lead, the highest amount was found in a Sonic cheeseburger with 912% more than what the EPA allows in drinking water.
we need to see what that building's about.
A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
I think it's like kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out from doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun, because I see what's going on in these streets, and I see you guys just sitting up there in them comfy chairs and suits, and I'm getting out here every day and I'm broadcasting this, and you guys are just sitting up there in suits. Like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into... they flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them like.
Y miren, lo último que pude ver.
Hey man, y'all can laugh at Donald Trump all y'all want about them eating cats and dogs, but when we say it about a certain people, you know what I'm saying? Like, we say, hey, you might not want to eat that happy walk. You know what I'm saying? It's cats and dogs on that happy walk. You know what I'm saying? That Wong Wong's chicken might not be chicken. You know what I'm saying? We say it all the time, but we don't believe Trump when he says it. You know, they are out here doing some crazy stuff, and it makes you not even want to leave your dog outside, you know? If you're in one of these areas.
Kenton just brought a bird from the woods. What do you have?
I don't know.
You're just catching birds now, huh?
I don't know what it is.
How in the world did you catch that?
I think it's injured. I was walking down to our fort. Then I saw it run and I chased it. Then it went up in the tree. Then I shook the tree and it fell and it was running. Then I got hold of it and I pulled it to me.
Yeah, it's not a chicken, dude. Quit petting it.
They just out here catching birds, huh? Look, another one.
Why do you have the bird?
Say it again.
Why do you
I catch you when
Let me have the bird.
But,
I have the bird. I have the bird.
You gotta be thinking.
I know how to hold the bird. Let go of the bird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to show the...
No, the bird is not your bird.
Dang, she just jacked the bird from him, huh?
Belong. I know, you're scared. I don't know what he was doing with you.
About to have bird soup later. That's what he was about to do.
Make sure you can fly okay and let you go. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone here. You probably do too.
Y'all want some duck soup?
This is a young seagull. It still has juvenile plumage on its head.
Mans was finna have that gold soup.
Go in the water because they're going to bother you again. I don't want to take you away from your home. Go back to your parents. I know. You'll be able to fly very soon. This bird is a baby. Leave it alone. The bird is a baby. No. Let it be.
Dang, you really out here protecting a birdie. That's crazy. I mean, I get it, though. She really a wildlife rehab warrior.
You stay away from him.
Must be out here hungry.
I'm going to show you how I would go to the moon right now. Just need a crew of those people here who are just painting the moon on a ball. We just need a film crew and some artists who are just doing those little paintings, right? And then we just need a giant board with cameras who are simulating just a moon landing, and they're zooming in into the moon crater, okay? So, and we got just those giant balls with stuff like that here. And here we got a rail with the cameras simulating approximately how we are going to the moon, right? So how we are going to land on the moon like in 1969, okay? So here are the rails. And yeah, we need an outdoor set, right? Just like in Hawaii with this giant rock in the background. But hey, we are just going to tell the people it's just for training, okay? So yeah, I'm going to drive the buggy and I'm going to present the moon lander, and we just need to do some stuff to the ground. So there are so many craters, right? Doing the artists here, right? Who are just painting the blobs and the stuff like that on those balls here, right? And yes, of course, I just need a big outdoor set like this one here. And yeah, here's the lunar lander on a crane who's lifting up for the takeoff.
What did he say?
He basically interrupts and says, "It's going to cool first, though, isn't it?" And the scientist is like, "Oh, that's not what the evidence shows." And he kind of laughs. He goes, "I'm not so sure you know that."
It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Well, I don't think science knows, actually.
He was
this
saying
when
something.
he was the president?
Yes, this was just a few years ago. This is probably his last year of his term.
Well, that's what Randall Carlson has said. And what Randall Carlson said that really freaked me out, he goes, global warming's not scary. He goes, global cooling. That's what's really scary.
Certain levels of initiation through which you leave dimensionalized reality. Okay, so this is called the Betahuva key. And it's called the key because what it gives you is the literal diagram of the 12 strands of the silicate matrix gene code and how they plug into each other. Now, if you will look, I have a series of darker dots and lighter dots, and each are marked off as part of one strand. Now, the darker dots represent the magnetic heli in that strand, and it contains 12 base codes. The electrical heli, which is the light dots in that strand, contains 12 acceleration codes. The base codes and the acceleration codes have a sound equivalent. They are both subtones, and when they combine, they form a full tone. So if you combine the 12 and 12, you have 24 pieces right now, you combine them, you end up with 12 full tones. Now, what's really fun, I love this part for some reason. I think I've probably been working on it for many incarnations. When the tones are combined, so you have your base codes, which are a base tone, and you have your acceleration codes, which are an overtone. You combine a base tone and an overtone, you get a resonant tone. There's your full tone. Now, those full tones were represented in many of our ancient teachings. They actually followed some of the patternings of the original Hebrew alphabet. They were expressed in the Hebrew language. There were various languages. Basically, 5 languages are programmed into the DNA, but when it comes to the primary language that held the energy signatures, that controlled the primary 12 tones, it was the Hebrew language that controlled the 12 tones. And if there was any subtones or smaller energy imprints, there were other languages that applied to those. So if you wanted to get, in the old days, it worked that if you wanted to get control over your DNA code and how to handle it, you'd need the map, for one, to know where the strands were, what they meant, how they corresponded to these, which we'll get to in a minute. And you would need to know the codes, what sound tones these were. The sound tones were expressed in terms of the letters of the alphabet, of the Hebrew alphabet, but it has been eons since the correct sequences of those letters have been given. And many, many scholars, from what I understand, have been spending many, many eons trying to find out what the sequences of what they call the fire letters are. The fire letters, which are addressed in things like the Keys of Enoch and those kind of things. The fire letters are the 12 tones, the primary 12 tones. There's many more than that, but each strand has 12 primary tones or fire letters. They're light symbol codes, and they actually start out as light. That's why they're called fire letters. They later turn to sound when they become activated in the DNA, and this is something that, this was new to me. I knew a little bit about the fire letters, but this was a new part. When the codes are not fully activated in a DNA strand, they exist within the morphogenetic field as a standing wave pattern, a scalar wave. They exist as light. When those patterns of light get intersected by certain patterns of sound, things happen. And one of the things that happens is they come from dormancy as a standing wave pattern within the DNA strand, an imprint, into the active DNA strand as a dormant sound tone. But at least it's into the active physical DNA strand now. Then it has to be activated once it's there. But you can, masters of the Behuva, know how to program anything in to their DNA. They can manifest anything right through their bodies. They can manifest events, they can manifest worlds. We're not that good. We're just working on knowing enough about it to be able to activate things in the DNA and to reverse mutate other things that are going to stop the activations from taking place. The reason it's so important right now is because we are entering a time acceleration. There's a condition called molecular compaction that the body will experience if it does not accelerate its particle pulsation rhythm. There's one way to accelerate the body's particle pulsation rhythm high enough to not have any negative effects from this time acceleration, and that is to activate the DNA to a 4.5 strand level accretion. That means 4.5 strands need to activate. We're still roaming around thinking we have 2, that's it. So it's important that we begin to understand the structure. It's not just, oh, gee, maybe I'll play with my DNA tonight. There is a real reason for it. Now, we're not all going to fall over and die from molecular compaction. It doesn't exactly work that way. It's much more subtle. Molecular compaction occurs because during the next 18 years, there are numerous things happening, which I'm not going to get heavily into in this tape, but there are increased interdimensional scalar wave patterns moving into the Earth's grid. There are interdimensional electromagnetic wave patterns that...
I'm guessing this is pretty old. And the stuff she's talking about resonates with right now. That's crazy, y'all.
It's not used to having. We are going to get infusions of D4, D5, D6, 7, 8, and 9 frequency into the Earth's grid and into the Earth's crust and its core and our bioenergetic fields between now and 2017. If your morphogenetic field, because it's blocked by not having the right codes to allow it to expand to hold those frequencies will push in on the crystalline lattice work of the blueprint that your body is built on. And it will begin to poke holes in it, just as if you had a glass in your hand and you squeezed it too tight. The frequencies coming in become pressure on the crystalline lattice work of the body. And after a certain point, it will begin to, and like I said, it's not right away. It's not, you're going to fall over and get a horrible disease tomorrow or anything. It will be a progressive acceleration of the aging and deterioration process. That's what will come of it. And it will affect everyone differently. It depends on where your DNA is. If you're of a higher resonating code and you're able to expand and take in more of those scalar wave patterns, you won't show much of the results. Some people will be able to use it to actually activate higher strands, where they'll actually get younger. They'll be in better health. But others will get stuck within the lower DNA strand counts, and the first effects would be, they said, within the bone structure. You would begin to get weakness in bone and teeth and that kind of thing. And the next would be within the immune system. And they didn't tell me after that, what would be the results. That's enough, and I've already experienced some of it myself. I've had experiences of being exposed through my experiences with the Guardians, being taken places, I've been taken through portals, so I know what it feels like. That's scalar wave exposure. And I have had things like teeth break right after. Just break for no reason. So it does happen. I'm not an example of what will happen to everybody because I've been on the extreme course because I've been taken all over the place and really exposed to interdimensional frequencies. But this is something that's worth thinking about, not getting real scared about, oh my God, it's gonna, I'm gonna die of molecular compaction. There are worse things that could happen, because as long as you know you can just get out of your body and, go on to the next level when you cross over. But we can actually learn to use this increase of energy that's coming to our planet to improve our condition, rather than to let it tear us down.
That this is actually the case. I do not believe that this country or the world in general is in the hands of normal human beings. I don't think we're being run by normal human beings. Normal people do not do to the earth what the people who are running this planet do. So it would not surprise me, I don't know, I'm just theorizing, it would not surprise me if we found that the people in power today are actually not of this world. And that would explain why they don't give a damn about human life. They have no concept of freedom, liberty, and justice for all. They couldn't care less. They are not from this world. They do not live on this planet with us. They are here to subjugate the human race. They're here to imprison the human race and treat us all as if we're nothing more than slaves in a slave camp. So I don't have any concern about the politics of the world that we live in. I'm far more concerned about who really is owning and running this planet. Who really created us, in point of fact. Because the man that I met back in 1959 was an extraordinary man, and I have had other extraordinary people tell me things and do things in front of me and that I saw them do that was absolutely inhuman and no human could do. So I am persuaded to believe that we are actually in the presence of alien life forms that look like us. I don't know where I'm going with all of this, but I feel it's very important, because I would not be a bit surprised if scientists and people at the very top of this world know this for a fact and are in league with aliens who look like humans. There's all kinds of stories. We've heard all kinds of stories like that in the UFO community. And for many years, I'm not talking about just recently with Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is a lot of things, but stupid is not one of them. And this man has produced and directed so many UFO movies. And he did a television series, which was like, I don't know, 15 to 19-hour series called Taken. Aliens who came here who look like humans, who have abducted humans. I don't know if you have ever thought about this, but if you are going to finance Steven Spielberg movie for a 90-minute movie, you better have a lot of money, because he is not cheap. He's the best there is. And consequently, if you think about how much money it must cost to finance Steven Spielberg's movies, well, Steven Spielberg made a 17-hour television series just on aliens who are abducting humans. He's made all kinds of movies, from E.T. to Close Encounters to all kinds of different, along with poltergeists and other strange stories.
Man, so what happens is, right, these stories, they be real. And, people will have footage of it, or the information will be there. But we live in a capitalist society, so everything's for sale. Everything's for profit. Who's the highest bidder? Hollywood. They get this information, they get this knowledge. They want to capitalize off it. They want to make some profit. They want to make their money back. So then they release a series, and it has us like, oh, and they always say that you can never really imagine anything that you've never seen before, right? Like, if I've never seen something before, I'm not going to be able to picture that in my head, or the idea in my head. Someone had to tell me that this was going to happen, or that this happened a certain way, or that it looked a certain way, and then I can kind of paint the image in my mind. But I can't just do that from scratch. What do you think these Hollywood directors are doing? They have information, inside knowledge.
What I'm suggesting is that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg are not stupid. They're trying to tell you something. They're trying to prepare the human race, and they are highly financed. They are extraordinarily well financed to do anything they want to do. So anytime, and I've lived in Hollywood for 48 years, I know Hollywood, and I know anytime you are highly financed and promoted, where's the money coming from? And why is there such a concentration on this idea of humans, of aliens who look like humans? I am just suggesting, again, I go back to...
Good morning. In the United States and across our allied countries, our focus on national defense and on national security are blinding us to everything else that's going on. We tend to see the world and the other countries in the world through the prism of military capabilities and military power. But economic power is power. Diplomatic power is power. Commercial power and industrial power, pricing power, logistics and supply chains. These are power structures of a different kind, and they're more enduring, and they run deeper. 10 years ago, China announced a plan for a new network of ports. It was called the Maritime Silk Road, and the name itself has a lot of historical significance here in Asia. Just 10 years ago, that's all. At the time of the announcement, China had investments in 44 ports across the world. Now it's over 100 in 50 countries. This is from the Washington Post. The Silk Road was aimed at improving China's access to the world markets. The investments have slowed down since because of slowing growth and the U.S. pushing back. No, the investments have slowed down because they're almost done. These ports are almost finished. They're operational now and producing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the report from the Council for Foreign Relations. China owns or operates 115 active projects across the world. Of those, just 14 could be purposed for military use. So 14 out of 115. Here is a map they've put together. The darker colors represent a higher percentage of ownership by Chinese companies. The triangles are the bases that can be used by military ships. And it is a nifty interactive map. We can put our cursor over the shapes and it goes into detail port by port. So here's Brazil, a BRICS country. Potential for naval use is uncertain. They don't know if China can use it for warships or not, but here's what we do know. China put in $700 million. And since that port's been done, China is now the biggest buyer for most of Brazil's beef and chicken and soybeans. Council of Foreign Relations and the Army War College are trying to figure out why China dumped all this money into a port if they can't bring an aircraft carrier in. Meanwhile, Brazil is putting our Midwestern farmers out of business. So there's $700 million at São Luís mega port. At Paranagua, it's $920 million. And that port can serve all of southern Brazil and Paraguay. If you're South Brazil, a U.S. Navy pulling into Paranagua is of no interest to you whatsoever. A container port is something else. It means markets and jobs and low-cost products coming in and exports going out. Just looking at a few more in South America, Pacific. Ecuador, $110 million. Chancay, Peru, $230 million. Newport, Peru, $410 million. This is from Lazard. This is a fantastic report. It runs over 40 pages, and we reference it a lot. Chinese exports to the United States were falling at the time the report was published. Exports from China to the U.S. are not falling anymore. They've since rebounded and hitting records. Anyway, Chinese exports are rising to everywhere else. China exports more to the Belt and Road Initiative members than to the European Union, the United States, and Japan combined. Last sentence. This illustrates China's deep trade links and the difficulties in dislodging them. It's not just Chinese exports, it's other countries that are importing. These are trade relationships that are being built across markets in the world. In the United States and Europe, we are not in them. Back to the Washington Post, where they're talking to military experts instead of business people. The U.S. is still the biggest military power in the world. We have 750 overseas bases. China's got only one. But the Army War College is focused on whatever military purposes may be served by these maritime Silk Road ports. The expansion is critical to China's economic power, but also to their military potential. It's not a coincidence. There is a strategic aspect to these ports. That's their conclusion. But the commercial aspect is the strategy, and it's everything. What should we think most of the world's countries are hoping for? To become part of our network of 750 overseas bases? Or part of the new economic bloc that they're being stitched together? 150 countries or so that are not members of NATO. As of last September, China had signed 70 shipping agreements with 66 countries. And here they say again, China is not a global naval power, and they have few overseas naval bases. But they're focused on everything else. Here are the countries ranked by total Chinese FDI into the ports. Tanzania, number 1. Australia, number 2 at $8 billion. Those are giant mining countries. The far right column is whether these countries are part of the Belt and Road Initiative. Australia is a no. Israel is a no. Everyone else is in, looks like. Who are some of the yeses? Saudi Arabia, yes. South Korea, Thailand, Kenya. The United States has military bases in those places, big ones. Maybe in some of these others too. But they're Belt and Road countries. Washington Post again, China's port network presents a different challenge to U.S. security interests. It's the world's premier commercial maritime power, and now they have a strategic hold over parts of the world, and they could restrict U.S. troop movements, freedom of navigation if they so choose. They are an asymmetrical threat. Our experts in Washington and Europe are looking hard at these maps right here, and they're writing papers about how easy it would be for China to go from one overseas military base to 15. And these experts have all missed the elephant in the room, the most important economic story since the Industrial Revolution, maybe longer than that. These are supply chains and logistics facilities, not only for China, but for their entire new trading bloc. And it's already bigger than ours. These are China's ports, but they're BRICS markets in friendly countries. And those ports mean jobs and exports and imports, tax revenues for their governments to operate, money for schools and hospitals and municipal projects. That's power. That is hard power that smaller countries understand and they want to share for themselves. So South America is joining the Belt and Road and BRICS. So is South Asia, so is Africa, so is the Middle East. And China is doing more business with all those countries than with North America, plus Europe, plus Japan combined. This is the Yili grasslands, Xinjiang. Be good.
So, y'all ready for BRICS versus NATO? Man, that's going to be something crazy, ain't it? Because that's what it seems like it's coming down to. You've got all these different countries picking a side. And at the end of the day, there can only be one person on top. You know what I'm saying? Man, I mean, shout out to China for, setting up all this stuff. And I feel like they are going to be helping out other countries. Whereas, the U.S. tries to basically take from these other countries. But who knows? We have to wait and see what China's going to really do, what their real plans are at the end of the day.
It's a very dangerous subject to talk about in public because there are ways to do it, but you have to understand what you've gotten yourself into. But
all right, I guess I'll read this first, guys, because it's kind of hard to read and listen at the same time and then comprehend both things. You know what I'm saying? You ever talk to a person who be on their cell phone texting and then they just like, and then you ask them, what did I just say? They're like, huh? Exactly. Jail. U.S. state citizens. System opt-in out driver's license. This is why I tell people to opt out and go private. I myself do not have a driver's license. I have used my own method with the passport that places you on the do not detain list. Oh, your boy can't read. Let me start that over. I have used my own method with the passport that places you on the do not detain list. You don't need to register your car ever. You can obtain car insurance with the passport as well. And you can also beat court and not step foot in court. I have documents separate method if fighting a case. Because you are out of the jurisdiction, my dot places you as a private traveler. You can never get locked up. Understand, if a warrant is placed, it will be put on your driver's license, not on your passport. Again, you are out of the jurisdiction. U.S. citizens can be placed in jail, and American nationals cannot understand common law. You must know your rights living in private. I have my very own dot plates on my car. I've been followed when they know they can't do anything. They drive off pissed. We the people claim what's yours. We do this. If interested in the process, click the link in the bio. You receive full immunity with the passport and dot plates method. So we need to be American nationals, not United States citizens. There's a difference.
You have to know how to do it correctly. But once you do that, you opted out of a system, and that system runs the planet, and you just dropped out. So now, you've got certain privileges now. The federal government has no jurisdiction over you. If they stop you, and see, that's another problem with state citizenship, is because you cannot have a driver's license, you cannot have anything on your car, you can't have any kind of identification that connects you to the federal system. That being the case, once you opt out of the federal system, you're going to be out there by yourself, and there's no one going to be able to help you on anything. However, I would go on to say this. I know many people who are state citizens today, and they're doing it somehow. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it. I know doctors who are state citizens. I know dentists who are state citizens. People who own dealerships who are state citizens. They are doing it lawfully and legally. And I was going to add the problem, though. Another problem, very big, is that if you are a state citizen, you cannot have a driver's license or a tag on your car. So if you drive out into the street with no license and no tag on the car, and you don't need insurance because that's only federal, you don't need insurance, and so you are stopped. You have no license, no tag on your car, and no insurance. You go into jail, and you can show them all the paperwork that is you're a state citizen. The cops can't read. They are goofy. The cops are thugs. They don't care about what the law says. The police in America are nothing more than the heavy arm, like the mafia. They're the street soldiers.
They're the enforcers.
They're the enforcers. That's why that's called the armed forces. So that's why cops today are there for one reason, to make sure you are in compliance. They don't ask you, they don't know what the law is. Half of them can't read. So they don't know what the law is. They don't care about the law. All they know is that they're being paid a salary to do one thing, to make sure you're in compliance with Berlin. They're making sure you're in compliance with the powers that be. And you say, well, why are you as an American treating me, a fellow American? They're not Americans. They're cops. They don't give a damn about America. They don't care about your rights. You don't have any rights. As a U.S. citizen, you have no rights. You do not have access to the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. That's in the law books. So if you say that you are a U.S. citizen, you, by law, do not have access to the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. So that's why it always amazes me when I'm hearing people who are going to court and they're going to demand this and that because they have a constitutional right. Read the book, read the law book. It says if you are a U.S. citizen, you have no recourse to the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. So don't even bring it up. You are a U.S. citizen. That means you are an employee of my corporation. You just sit down and shut up. When you're in court, you got nothing to say. The problem is that if you become a state citizen and you don't have the driver's license or whatever, you're going to get stopped. You're going to go to jail. Now, you'll be in there for about 6 weeks until they finally get you into court. And then if you know how, if you're smart enough to know how to talk, and you've got the documents, and you can show the judge, I am lawfully, according to your law, I am a California state citizen, I'm a Nevada state citizen, and here are the documents, and you enter that into the court, the judge will always say, you're right, the case is dismissed, because you're right, you are a state citizen, and the judge has no jurisdiction over you, and so he releases you. Yeah, but you were sitting in jail for 6 weeks waiting for that, and now you finally won the case, which you will. You get in the car to go home, another cop's going to stop you, start all over again. You're not even going home. You're going back to jail. Now it starts all over again. So you're going to be in there for another 6 weeks until it will never stop, because there's always going to be some cop out there who cannot read. He doesn't know anything about law. He has no comprehension of what you're talking about, sovereignty or state citizen. That's all, that's all Greek to him. All he knows is you going to jail. That's all he knows. He gets paid to do one thing, throw you in jail. That's it. You got a problem with that? Speak up. But
man, That's crazy. But that is good to know. But it is messed up. I mean, when you live in their system, they can still do whatever, regardless of what paperwork you got. You know, imagine them pulling you over and you're like, you ain't got no rights to take me to jail. They're going to say, yeah, right. You ain't got no rights either. Come on. And you're going to jail. Like, what you going to do? Strong arm a police officer? We know how that goes.
Did you guys hear about what Kroger had the audacity to say today while being questioned about price gouging? You know, that thing we've all been surviving for the last little while. Everyone's calling it inflation, but we all know deep down it's much bigger than inflation. These companies, these greedy damn fucking companies, have been gouging the sides of us any which way they can for profit. But you know what Kroger said while they were being questioned? It's kind of their new tagline. And I hope you remember this when you're not shopping there, because none of us should be shopping there. Never let a good crisis go to waste. So, Mom, while you were wondering how you could afford diapers and formula, and Dad, you were struggling working extra hours because it costs so much to put food on everybody's table, these companies were laughing their asses off basically at us, and now they've been caught and they still don't care. Crazy, huh?
Good news is that there are herbs that will kill fungus, kill mold, and will not kill you. One is garlic, it's well known. Another is olive leaf extract. Olive leaf extract contains a plant chemical called oleucin, and it is strong antifungal. One lady said, oh, I take a little bit of that every day. I said, I would not advise you do that. That's like taking a little bit of antibiotic every day to prevent a cold. No, keep it for when you need it. Also, grapefruit seed extract. Grapefruit seed extract is a very strong antifungal, and if you do use it, my suggestion is only a few drops 3 times a day. You can buy it in a little container called Traveller's Friend. It's called Traveller's Friend because many people travel with it. They just put 1 drop, say, in a bottle of water, and it will kill off any bacteria or fungus that may be in there. Another one is Portiaco. It's a South American herb that is quite strong antifungal. When people are looking at eliminating yeast from the body, I say it's a good idea to work with a professional, a naturopath. But what I advise is maybe 2 weeks on this, 2 weeks on this, 2 weeks on this, 2 weeks on this. Body gets used to things, so it's good to alternate.
Is he trying to tell us?
Mathematics and music.
Mathematics and music?
Ah, you'll find mathematics in the darndest places. Watch. You can imagine how excited Pythagoras was when he shared his findings with his pals, a fraternity of eggheads, known as the Pythagoreans. They used to meet in secret to discuss their mathematical discoveries. Only members were allowed to attend. They had a secret emblem, the pentagram. Hidden within the pentagram is a secret for creating a golden rectangle, which the Greeks admired for its beautiful proportions, and we find it in their classical architecture. The Parthenon, perhaps one of the most famous of early Greek buildings, contains many golden rectangles. These same golden proportions are also found in their sculpture.
Them golden proportions is what is all throughout the whole Tartarian Empire. Dang, they put it in our face right then.
This person and this person is one and the same. Whoa. This is the god Hanuman. He's celebrated all over the eastern part of the globe. Well, when you say Asia, from India to Asia, they celebrate the Monkey King. But we got problems with monkeys because we've been called monkeys. But nevertheless, this is who James Brown actually was. I'm going ahead of myself. We're going to have to get into this particular science because I done called James Brown a monkey. So we're going to have some explaining to do. But we're talking about symbology. This is actually the god, this is actually the Egyptian god Tahuti is who this is. Wow. Thoth or Tahuti. The Egyptian god Tahuti, Thoth, what you get the word, the Greek word is Thoth, where you get the word thought from. Tahuti. So the East Indian farmer Tahuti is Hanuman. You see, so it's not necessarily, he was a genius. And I'm glad I said it on my tapes years ago, that this man was a genius. I'm going ahead of myself. We're going to dedicate this to him based on a certain amount of energy. Now, this is not just to say, well, how the hell is that going to help me? Because his energy was the embodiment of Tahuti or Hanuman, you can tap into that energy by invoking him through his music.
So I tried a new experiment. I put a bunch of magnets in a bowl. It's only been freezing for like 3 hours, but there's 5 magnets in there. There is one on the bottom. There is one on the bottom. What is happening? Magnets clearly affect water. I'm not sure how. I don't know the science behind it, but
Well, water has more in it than literally just H2O. That's probably tap water, you know, and it's probably all type of chemicals or whatever else in that water, minerals, added minerals for taste. Who's seen that on a bottle of water before? So there's all type of things in that water, and that's probably why magnets are able to influence it.
this is I mean, proof of the firmament?
I don't know how it's proof of the
This
firmament.
should scare you. Watch this.
Developing news from Oxford, officials at a Board of Health meeting have approved a recommendation to issue a 6 p.m. curfew to keep residents safe from high levels of triple E.
Ridiculous.
People at that meeting not happy.
Please don't do this to our kids.
800 people signed a petition.
Officials approving the recommendation say they aren't banning people from going outside, but instead putting safety measures in place. They suggest the 6 p.m. curfew last until September 30th, and starting October 1st,
When are we going to wake up
curfew
and
will
realize they're
shift to
not
5
out to help you? They're not all concerned. We want to help you. They want control. If they wanted to help you, they would start by cleansing your food that's poisonous that you eat at the store, but they don't care about you. That's why they allow you to smoke cigarettes and drinks. The reality of things is control. We need to stand against this because it's us, the people, that have the power, not them. And if you believe that, subscribe for more truth like this.
Nah, for real. Big old tree.
You get any sleep last night?
I don't sleep. I just dream.
Today marks 2 years since Queen Elizabeth's passing, but an eerie moment during her funeral still lingers. As her procession aired live, a woman's voice suddenly broke through saying that death is irreversible and the fact that she is trapped before being mysteriously cut off. What's she talking about here?
Death is irreversible, and the fact that she's
As you can see, well, as you can see here in London, it is a lovely day, and as the hearse heads out into West London, Emily Moore.
That's crazy, right?
death is irreversible, and the fact that she's
As you can see,
I know y'all heard that. Wow, ain't
Y'all
it?
haven't seen this or this? There was live news footage of houses like literally just falling off the cliff. Now, this stuff started happening back in July, as you saw the dates. But recently, this random guy from Georgia, I think is where he said he's from, got to California, has on a t-shirt, and is warning the residents of California that they need to leave because it's going to get really, really bad. And he's been doing that for like the last few weeks. He's been popping up on my FYP every day. And he is literally walking through the streets like he's Noah, screaming, y'all need to leave. Then the day that I posted that video that clearly hardly nobody saw, there was reports of an earthquake. And now they're talking about it all the time. Like it's literally getting worse. So I was like, so we just gonna ignore it if this guy is like kind of right? But yeah, no, it's bad. They literally declared a state of emergency like, what was that, last week? This week? They just did it. I'm big on not just listening to some random person on TikTok. I do my research. And yes, there are 2 active state of emergencies. There was a state of emergency declared in Ranchos Palos Verdes, I think is the name of it, on September the 3rd. And another one was declared on September the 7th in San Bernardino. They over there complaining about record high temperatures too right now. I ain't saying what he's saying, but I'm just saying. Might want to listen.
What's going on in Cali? Any California people out there? Illinois.
So here's the theory. You see this orange car, the person who bought this from my cousin, okay, 3 years ago, they owned that orange car. Me and my aunt are talking, we have not seen that lady, okay? Well, all of a sudden, now we have this, okay? I didn't realize, remember I've been talking about this trailer and the fence that they built? Listen, watch this. Use this old pool ladder. I move it to the other side of the yard. This thing is freaking heavy. Hold on. All right, y'all, look at this. Y'all, it's Tent City. It's Tent City back there. That's why all this stuff is in the front yard, because everything in the backyard, and they've cut down the whole woods back there. So they moved in all those tents, and the backyard, I think, full of tents. So where's the lady that owns it? Where is that lady? That's what we're wondering.
The man in the front just digging in the sand, though. Did y'all peep that? Just some random guy just playing in the sand. Where was that? Oh, snap. Look, look. Yo. That was wild.
What's this stuff right here that is in spirals showing up there? And then you've even seen them down here. So I'm sitting here watching the hurricane, and I'm watching these circles of waves show up on there. You can literally see it here zoomed in more. And watch how the cloud does in these areas as well. Interesting, huh? Watch it on this cloud model of how it's moving. Interesting, wouldn't you say? Here you see it happening here near Hammond, and then you see it here happening in Jackson. And this ain't the only one. Here's something not too far from New Guinea to where you see it doing this, and we're familiar with this, right? Oh, wow. And here we are off the coast for Queensland, Australia, and they have even weird stuff taking place. And the first time that this showed up was 10 hours ago of when this started happening, of these ripples that you see popping up here and here. Let me know your thoughts. Take care. God bless.
I'm lost. I don't know. Let me pause this. Me thinking about my patient from today who has dealt with brain fog, dizziness, nausea, and many of the BVD symptoms since getting COVID in 2020. He has seen multiple doctors, including 6 neuro, and not one of them has been able to help. I truly cannot wait to be able to give him the relief that he needs. Yo, 2020 messed a lot of people up. You know, people still dealing with symptoms of that. You know, people who still can't smell. Imagine going years without being able to smell something. Like, you probably go crazy.
I am so sick
sick of you cowards. Keep on talking about, well, she trying to protect reproductive rights and women's rights and this and that. What the fuck happened to all our rights when we had to fucking get a mandated vaccine? Or we couldn't work. Raise your hand if you lost your fucking job from not getting the fucking vaccine. Me! But you want to talk about somebody's fucking rights? They took them bitches right from under us. They told us we couldn't go to funerals, but we could go march up and down the motherfucking street long as we got BLM on. Make that shit make sense. All of you motherfucking Democrats that's following behind this bitch that ain't said shit yet, she literally ain't said shit worth voting for. She even did less. Till you motherfuckers keep on talking about she did the Anti-Lynching Act 4 months ago. 4 fucking months ago to get your vote so you can have something to talk about because it's nothing else. Then when you ask them what she did for the economy, first thing they say, the Anti-Inflation Act. She passed the Anti-Inflation Act. Do you feel uninflated? Huh? Do you feel uninflated?
Okay, what kind of police station is this? Is this real? Y'all listen to this shit. Just listen.
They're watching the live from Ohio.
Hey, police a call.
Disregard.
Disregard.
15 Rhine Street between Buente and Rhine Place. It's going to be apartment 2B Bravo. Third party caller saying a female is in the laundry room, appears to be overdosing. She's watching it live on a TikTok outside. We copy. 187, very long list of calls. 503 negative. It's going to be 2115 Rhine Street. Police are not responding. It is a third-party call that in the past has been unfounded for a female possibly overdosing with them watching live on TikTok.
Yeah, police aren't going, then we're not going to go either. You can put them back in service.
We see Medic 10, you can disregard Ryan Street. Record.
Wow. Just disregard.
Affirmative. They've just added medic for possible overdose.
Delta 60, can you show me a service?
Receive.
All right. I'm going to head up to that 2115 Ryan Street. I just watched your TikTok. She is foaming from the mouth. I'm going to try and 302 her, but also send a medic.
Okay, so that is Officer 187. After the police and medic refused to go to the scene. I don't give a shit if somebody's called you 3,000 times. Your job is to go. Get in your little car, take your donut with you, and go check it out. That is horrible. That dispatcher, the police, and medics need to be asked questions. I don't care. Someone's life is in danger. You help them. It doesn't matter how many times they call wolf. You keep going. Period. Sorry.
Yo, that's why they're law enforcers. That's it. Okay, allegedly, this is why aliens, NHI, what's NHI stand for, are being kept secret. Holy shot. UFO world. Americans can handle the truth and deserve to know about the nature of UFOs. Pentagon 2038. Okay, you've worn us down. The truth is they're actually interdimensional visitors who seeded our planet and biologically engineered the human race to provide a food source. 3/4 of the hundreds of thousands of people who go missing every year are presumed to be consumed by the visitors. Oh, wow. Also, it's not only our bodies they consume. Following death, they trap and control our consciousness and then implant it into a biomechanical gray clone to continue the herding and slaughter of our fellow humans. UFO world. Nah, you playing, right? Right? Yo, that sounds crazy. But man, they say that all these UFOs, they're not angelic beings out there. You know, some of them are very demonic. You don't know what you're going to get. I'm going to just stay here on the earth. This is where I was born. This is where I want to stay.
A large blackout affecting the entire or a large portion of the United States of America. Imagine what that's like. You walk outside, you turn on your phone, there's no signal. You go back inside, you turn on the TV, no signal. You turn on the faucet, no water. You turn on the fridge, no refrigeration, your food starts to spoil. You walk outside, cars pile up, no street lights. Within 3 to 5 days, the food is gone from the grocery stores. And the trucks that the city counts on to resupply that food aren't coming. The sewage system starts to overflow and contaminates what remains of the water supply, and people start getting cholera. Societal order starts to break down. There's mass evacuations. The emergency responders have now left their positions like many did during Katrina to protect themselves and their own families. The unfortunate news is that the threat of such a blackout is very real.
Somebody tell me what's going on at Coke. This is the third 6-pack that I've gotten that does this. They're not carbonated and they're flat. Like, if I wanted Pepsi, I would have bought Pepsi. What is happening?
What the hell is this?
That was rain.
Sauce did not do that.
Jello? Oh, Jello sauce.
My radish was moving like that. Do you see that?
Oh, what?
What is that?
And she ate
First
the
of all,
other
I
half.
soaked this meat in a vinegar, and yes, it changed color. Like, it went from pink to brown. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just the vinegar that got in there. But why is this beef holographic?
Anybody ever seen an asparagus like this? Check this out. Fresh out the box. Look at this. What the hell happened to this guy? I have never seen an asparagus like that before in my...
Dog, so this used to be an apple.
What?
What the fuck
What?
is this?
No way. Ugh.
This was an apple. Look at the stem.
I could be wrong, but I was under the impression that ice cream would melt after sitting
Okay.
out.
I didn't know what that was at first, guys. I was scared. Not gonna lie, I didn't know what that was. Then he said it was ice cream. I was like, whew. Man, that was nasty if it was something else.
Not all night. Now it looks like somebody shit in my sink.
Yes.
Really bad diarrhea from Taco Bell or maybe White Castle.
They are selling fake avocados in Texas.
Fake food. So what country got the real food? Where we gotta go?
So people have been asking how close we are to the fires. Well, this is the bridge fire. We are actually right in between two fires. This is the smaller fire, actually, and it's just right over the mountain from us. So more concerned about this one because the Santa Anas are coming in tonight, and this one's going to blow east, but this one's only 3,000 acres, 4,000 acres maybe.
Government has secrets that they can keep from us. They can manipulate us by those secrets. In essence, they still remain 25 years at least ahead of us in technology, information, and knowledge, and secrets, and they are using them against us. I heard over the years many times over that the plan to usher in the New World Order would be to make all the people in this country and around the world feel totally helpless to prevent the New World Order from occurring, this world dominance plan, by saying that we had been invaded by aliens, so that we would say, oh, please, UN, come in and help us all. So bear in mind that there is a planned orchestration to get people to be submissive through the secret technology and information that they're keeping from you under the blanket of the so-called National Security Act that's threatening the security of our nation.
You're being programmed since the second you're born in front of a television set, movies and everything else to get totally different. So all you're doing is being programmed to stay in the physical dimension.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the final conflict that these guys have to set up in motion, when we get to reducing the world's population, then they're going to have this organized group. I mean, the New World Order is a socialist dictatorship, just so you know. And what happens is that they're going to supposedly get the army to fight the common enemy from space, and that's the ETs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what the final conflict's going to be all about. I mean, you go right down by some of the movies that way. Wake up, guys. You're in a huge play. You know, it's like William Shakespeare said, the whole world's a stage, and we're just the players on this thing, which is actually correct.
So if you don't want to be panicked and stampeded by this phony threat from space, then you'll study the UFO issue and you'll find out the truth about the issue. And then when they say, oh, no, there really are aliens and they're coming to eat you, you have to give up all the rest of your liberty so we can protect you, you can say, nah, I don't think so.
Question, can you tell us about UFOs?
My sister, before my wife came around, used to be leader of the state of Ohio, the high priestess there of the whole state. And her little pastime was calling up, supposedly filling the sky with UFOs and watching everybody's excitement. And some of the most outstanding sightings were in the early 70s in Ohio. And she used to laugh about it, because she'd be standing in a circle out in the field somewhere calling up demons. And that's all they were angels of light playing games in the sky. Remember, a demon, get the little spooky picture. There are a fallen angel, an unclean spirit. They can assume any form or go into anything, but they can assume forms, including spacemen or solid objects like flying saucers or so on. That's why when they appear on the radar scope and a jet gets up there, they vanish right in front of the palisade because they're nothing but a spirit.
Mm.
They are not from outer space. They are not from another planet. They are not from another galaxy. They are from here, planet Earth. They have been here for millions of years. They live in the oceans. They have thousands of bases beneath all the seas throughout planet Earth. Their technology is millions of years more advanced than human technology. They are the first intelligent life to live on planet Earth. This is their planet, not our planet. It was never our planet. Many governments in the world know about this and keep it secret from the public. Since the 1930s, the United States military has retrieved multiple extraterrestrial spacecrafts that would also retrieve biological alien bodies. Vampires.
You know, it kind of reminds me of the Wakanda Forever, the Black Panther movie, right? How you had these people who were under the water. A whole race of people that lived under the water. No one knew about them for years. And then they decided to come up because, hey, that's what they decided to do. It was their time. Who's to say that that's not what's going on here? You know, we have all these ancient accounts of sea people, fish people, you know, people coming from the water. If you go to the Dogons, they talk about these sea people that come from the water. Who are these people for real?
Caught on Camera, Part 1.
There have actually been what appear to be vampires or maybe werewolves caught on camera. And I'm talking humans changing into them and growing fangs. Right there, boom, on camera. Here, hi, I did it for you. I shit you not. So this gentleman is on TikTok and he said that he was a vampire. And his followers said, no, you're not. No, you're not. Show us your fangs. I don't believe it, right? So he does. He shows his fangs and he goes into a whole spiel about how fangs work and all this stuff. Just check it out. Check it out.
Let me explain something about.
Wait a minute. Did y'all see that? I ain't got that effect, I don't think.
Thanks. This is the part of the video where everybody becomes a vampire expert, but those same people don't believe in vampires. Y'all humans are weird. Fangs are like your saliva. You don't salivate unless you smell food, you think about food, you about to eat some food. Fangs are the same way. Fangs are not meant to just pop out whenever. You know, this ain't True Blood. Like, stop with the movie shit. Stop with the movie shit, y'all. Don't stop thinking about all of that shit. When you force fangs out, it hurts, right? Because your body is not naturally opening up for the fangs to drop out. It's like if you guys were taking a shit or trying to take a shit and it's just not coming and you force that shit out, right? What happens after that? You guys will get hemorrhoids. Same thing. It's because your body wasn't naturally trying to push that shit out. Y'all need to drink more water, by the way. Drink more water. Mind your business, drink some water. It's like lifting something that is too heavy for y'all to lift. What's gonna happen? You guys will pull a muscle. You know, you'll get a hernia. Same thing with fangs. Like right now, my gums hurt. And these are kind of pushing out a little too much. My teeth aren't supposed to pop out like that. That's too far. That's too far. What's another thing y'all were talking about in the comments? Oh, sunlight. Vampires been here way longer than humans. Okay, I don't know which one of y'all started that rumor, but that's a rumor. It was a rumor made to make y'all feel safe. Sunlight. I'm in it right now. We gotta go to the store just like y'all. You know, like stores close at a certain time. I can't be waiting until nighttime to go shopping at the supermarket. You feel me? We just like y'all. We just, you know, a little stronger. You know, drink blood. I like these questions though. Keep them coming. I like these questions. Oh, I'm like, you hear me slurring? I can't even talk right. My gums hurt. But keep these questions coming, you know. Oh, just so you know, I might not make it through this series. I've been getting the true death threats. True death is the death of a vampire. I don't know why they call it that, because we're not dead. I'm not dead. I'm not dead. And that's another thing. Why y'all? Don't let Dracula fool you. Don't let Dracula fool you. Anyway. Okay.
Weird, right? Well, it doesn't stop there. That's not the only video from this gentleman. Now he has another, in this next video, he has a comment that came through that said they're definitely retractable fangs. Like good job faking it, but they're definitely like fake retractable fangs that you have in your mouth. So he responds to this video by making another video of him opening his mouth and showing that he has nothing in his mouth. And then once again, growing his fangs. Watch.
Let's see. This is the vampire version of Eddie Griffin. Oh man, I'll crack myself up.
Isaac, what the fuck?
Very creepy, right? Like very creepy. Then it goes a little further with this guy. So somebody commented on that video, the one we just watched, and said, well, if you're really a vampire and those aren't retractable fangs, then let's see a picture of you from 100 years ago. And he said, okay, I got you. Watch.
Okay. I kind of feel like the more I show you, the more you guys won't believe me. But it's okay. I'm used to this now. Hey, mama. That's me. This is me in 1919, I believe. I was trying to be an actor. I've always been trying to make my way into film, even 100 years ago. I kind of switched over to screenwriting, as some of you might know, just because it's a hard industry to crack, you know. Back then, they didn't really allow too many black people in silent films, you know, so you really had to be animated to kind of let them know what you're capable of, you know. I look back at this picture now and I hate it, you know, like I feel like I'm pandering to a certain demographic so that I can fulfill my dreams. Yeah, I hate it. But yeah, that's me. That's me.
Yeah, weird, right? Now, that could have been his dad or his grandpa, obviously, I understand that, but with all of these examples put together, it definitely makes you think. It definitely makes you take pause and be like, wait, what? Let me know what you guys think. Is he really a vampire? Do people really have superpowers? I don't know. I would love to hear what you think.
Yo, let me know what y'all think. Do we really got vampires out here? Did they make Blade off of this guy? That's Blade. That's the real life Blade right there. I mean, they got a whole Netflix series. I think it's on Netflix about vampires in Ohio. And they say it's supposed to be real. I don't know, man. Maybe this is the year of truths being let out, because maybe there has been vampires that have just walked among us, you know, and whenever they get hungry, they're like, oh, man, I guess I got to snatch somebody up real quick and get some blood. And then go back to their regular day life, everyday life, you know what I'm saying? You know them people that like their steak like extra rare? Maybe they are the real vampires.
So there are several videos going viral right now of what's supposed to be green lasers descending from the sky.
People's homes scanning the ground with that green laser.
People started paying attention after this particular video went viral. In this video, you can see a plane flashing a green laser and kind of scanning the ground. This made a lot of people start questioning what the heck was going on. Where were these green lasers coming from? And then just a couple of months later, a CCTV camera captured what looks like several green laser beams of light descending from space. Needless to say, this got a lot of attention, and experts and researchers were saying that this probably came from a Chinese satellite, but no one knows.
What the f*** is that?
Now this is where things take a really strange turn. Just a couple of months after, there were several videos popping up all over the internet of what's supposed to be these green laser beams descending from the sky.
They're scanning us.
What in the ever-living fuck is that?
This got so much attention that it ended up on the news, and they actually found out that some of the planes scanning the ground with these green lasers were owned by a company named Randigo, but still, no one knew why they were doing this.
I was just getting home and I saw it going back and forth with a laser beam, and it scanned over me multiple times. I've never had flight radar until this happened, because I'm like, what the heck is going on? But it shows that what kind of plane it was and what type of plane. I don't know who owns it, it just says private owner.
When you put the information Casey provided into the FAA website, it comes back with this information saying it's registered to Randigo.
Little by little, people started researching about Randigo, and they found out several patterns. In one of them, you can see several pictures coming from flight radar of the plane's paths. Whatever they're doing, it's as if they're scanning something, maybe weather patterns, maybe something else. In another Reddit post, someone found out that the company owns 33 planes and 33 employees, and I don't know why, but this raised a lot of red flags.
This dude was gonna crash into the house. Wait till you see the laser coming off the bottom of it. Check the radar map, he's 1,200 feet off the ground. You see that green laser coming off the bottom?
Yeah, you see it, they scanning.
And then, another Reddit user posted something like this. This plane flew over me this evening and was spraying something. Smell was awful. So I did a quick research just to double check if this plane was owned by Randigo, and guess what? It is. Strange, isn't it? What the heck is going on? It seems no one knows, but I want to know your take. What are these green lasers descending from space and from planes? What's going on?
That is crazy, y'all. It's like they scanning the whole world like they finna make a virtual reality or something like that, right? Scan it all, make a virtual reality in their computer, And next thing you know, we're in some digital world where you think like, dang, this looks so familiar. It's because they scanned everything and made a digital copy of it. That's because they scanned everything and made a digital copy of it.
Very aware of this, and they referred to each 2150-year period as an age. From 4300 BC to 2150 BC, it was the age of Taurus, the bull. From 2150 BC to 1 AD, it was the age of Aries, the ram. And from 1 AD to 2150 AD, it is the age of Pisces, the age we are still in to this day. And in and around 2150, we will enter the new age, the age of Aquarius. Now, the Bible reflects, broadly speaking, a symbolic movement through 3 ages while foreshadowing a 4th. In the Old Testament, when Moses comes down Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments, he is very upset to see his people worshiping a golden bull calf. In fact, he shattered the stone tablets and instructed his people to kill each other in order to purify themselves. Most biblical scholars will attribute this anger to the fact that the Israelites were worshiping a false idol or something to that effect. The reality is, the golden bull is Taurus the bull, and Moses represents the new age of Aries the ram. This is why Jews even today still blow the ram's horn. Moses represents the new age of Aries, and upon the new age, everyone must shed the old age. Other deities mark these transitions as well, such as Mithra, a pre-Christian god who kills the bull in the same symbology. Now Jesus is the figure who ushers in the age following Aries, the age of Pisces, or the 2 fish. Fish symbolism is very abundant in the New Testament. Jesus feeds 5,000 people with bread and 2 fish. When he begins his ministry walking along Galilee, he befriends 2 fishermen who follow him. And I think we have all seen the Jesus fish on the back of people's cars. Little do they know what it actually means. It is a pagan astrological symbolism for the sun's kingdom during the age of Pisces. Also, Jesus' assumed birth date is essentially the start of this age. At Luke 22:10, when Jesus is asked by his disciples where the next Passover will be after he is gone, Jesus replies, "Behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in." This scripture is by far one of the most revealing of all the astrological references. The man bearing the pitcher of water is Aquarius, the water bearer, who is always pictured as a man pouring out a pitcher of water. He represents the age after Pisces, and when the sun, God's Son, leaves the age of Pisces, Jesus, it will go into the house of Aquarius, as Aquarius follows Pisces in the precession of the equinoxes. All Jesus is saying is that after the age of Pisces will come the age of Aquarius. Now, we have all heard about the end times and the end of the world. The cartoonish depictions in the book of Revelation aside, the main source of this idea comes from Matthew 28:20, where Jesus says, "I will be with you even to the end of the world." However, in the King James Version, world is a mistranslation, among many mistranslations. The actual word being used is eon, which means age. I will be with you even to the end of the age, which is true, as Jesus' solar Piscean personification will end when the sun enters the age of Aquarius. The entire concept of end times and the end of the world is a misinterpreted astrological allegory. Let's tell that to the approximately 100 million people in America who believe the end of the world is coming. Furthermore, the character of Jesus being a literary and astrological hybrid is most explicitly a plagiarization of the Egyptian sun god Horus. For example, inscribed about 3,500 years ago on the walls at the Temple of Luxor in Egypt are images of the Annunciation, the Immaculate Conception, the birth, and the adoration of Horus. The images begin with
Dang. Akron's on fire.
This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know how you're all saying UFOs don't exist, they're not real, aliens aren't real, none of this is fucking real, it's a fucking psyop because aliens don't exist? Well, the government has passed along a new handbook for all the police in the United States to abide and follow. Look, police across the United States give a new UFO handbook as they warn craft pose a significant threat. Really? Really? Now you're deciding that these things are threatening? I can't go any further with this. UFOs are real. Obviously, the government is confirming it to the point where they're passing out handbooks on how to fucking deal with them. I'll see myself out.
It's a UFO over there. The Nellis Air Force Base is following it.
Snap. You see it?
It's right there. You see it? They following.
I know y'all seen that. What is this?
So is no one talking about how the couple that was climbing a mountain in Colorado caught a 20-foot fucking creature on camera by accident? This creature is something straight out of a nightmare, and I find it very crazy that everyone's being completely silent about it. The way that this figure is on the side of this mountain is some very unscrupulous shit, and I need to figure out what the fuck is going on in Colorado. Something tells me these two women weren't just climbing a mountain. They went up there and did some shit. Maybe a ritual, I don't know. But they definitely let something out on their way home. Well, these are the two women that said they went home and viewed the images from their trip and saw an uncanny fucking figure scoping the side of a Colorado mountain somewhere in the area. By the way, the scenery is fucking beautiful. This is the photo that shows that 20-foot creature scaling the side of a mountain like it has professional motherfucking climbing skills. Excuse my language, but this shit is so scary. If you look at that small circle before I enhance it, that's what they say the 20-foot creature is.
Oh.
What the fuck is that?
Oh.
Can somebody tell me what the fuck this is? Whose uncle is this? Why is it climbing the side of a mountain, bro? So basically, these ladies said they set off on the Interpede Walk at 2 a.m. in order to conquer the 14,000-foot crag by dusk the next day. They had been walking for 7 hours, and when they snapped the figure just after scaling the peak at around 9 a.m., she said, we were in full adrenaline mode, so we weren't really paying attention. And these people are graphic designers, and they explained that while they were showing the photographs with the family on a plasma screen TV, they first noticed this creature, and then they called the Rangers. Don't be going in on mountains. I have an idea what I think it is, but I'm gonna save that for part 2. Cause you know giants and shit climbing the side of the mountains is my specialty.
Yeah, some weird stuff in the mountains. I'm getting James Bond 007 from this like background music right now.
It's really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
I did a whole workshop where I was talking about the benefits of colloidal silver, talking about its origins.
Yeah.
And monatomic gold as well. Their origins are both in the same super antiquity, deep antiquity, really ancient. And so monatomic gold and colloidal silver is not new.
Yeah.
And this is an ancient healing method. Matter of fact, it was so powerful that only the elite of the elites had access to it.
So that was a clip of Billy Carson speaking about colloidal gold. Now, I know a lot of you guys are like me. I've never heard about it. So I went ahead and did my research and found 10 brands that make and sell colloidal gold. So I picked one of them and I went ahead and ordered one of their bottles. And that was 42 days ago. And the brand that I'm currently using is this Ormus by I Am Joy. And yes, it's also organic. And all I can say is just do your research on the benefits of colloidal gold. Pin the link right here on this video so you can be able to get yours.
Y'all ever had colloidal gold or silver? Dang, where's this? San Bernardino, California? That's from a fight? Dang, that's an explosion. That's what it looked like to me.
Did you know that Mount Shasta could be the entrance to Inner Earth or Agartha? Now, if you don't know about Mount Shasta, it's basically a mountain in California that Lemurians and Atlanteans retreated to whenever their home was destroyed, basically. They moved into the city called Telos, which is a subterranean city that's like inside of the mountain. Now, what's really interesting about this is because yesterday I had a dream that I met these two beings that were trying to get me to tell them where the entrance of Agartha was. At least that's what I believe they were trying to do. They basically opened up this map that looks exactly like the map of Agartha, and they were pointing toward certain things on the map. And I can't remember if I really knew or if I was pretending like I didn't know. Like, a part of me didn't want to tell them. It was a secret I wasn't supposed to share. And it kind of makes me wonder if that's the reason why I'm so obsessed with Mount Shasta, is because that is the entrance, and I might know where it is. I don't know. I mean, there's only one way to find out, right? Now, if you're kind of skeptical about there being an inner earth at all, the idea of inner earth has been mentioned in different cultures all around the world. Like Tibetan Buddhism mentioned Shambhala, which is apparently the capital of Agartha. It's called Patala in Hindu, and there's also Native American legends that mention people living beneath the earth. Now, it's said that the beings inside Agartha look human, while others look exotic, but they also have free energy sources, teleportation capabilities, and their technology are technologically more superior than us, apparently. So yeah, like I said, I've been wanting to go to Mount Shasta for a long time now, and I think this is the perfect time for me to go. And maybe wherever I end up going, maybe I'll have another dream where it'll tell me exactly where the entrance to Agartha is. And I don't know, I might go in. I mean, if they got locks and they're tall, I'm probably not coming back. Yeah, so this is the map to Agartha that I saw in my dream. There's obviously going to be more entrances to access Agartha. And it reminds me of that television show, I think it's called La Brea, and it basically talks about people falling into Inner Earth and it being like a whole other ecosystem and things like that. I've only watched like 3 episodes, so I really need to catch up on that. So yeah, what do you think? Do you think that Mount Shasta could be another entrance to Agartha? Do you believe in Inner Earth at all? Let me know in the comments.
You thinking that this body is you, your soul is down in the gastrointestinal tract, up under the intestines. That's why they tell you in some of the scriptures, and especially the Gnostic scriptures, they say go down and recover the pearl that resides near the ravenous dragon. Well, the great dragon is also the intestinal tract, and up under there is a little small seed, an invisible seed, and in that invisible seed is who you are. So in actuality, that little bit of invisible seed is what's actually, you're actually looking out of these 2 eyes and thinking that this physical body is you. It's a little seed up in there, a little nano seed, and that's who we are. That's who we are. Little particle of light. Now that little particle of light that's inside of us, you ever take a match and strike a match and put it up against this white wall, you'll see this soot that comes up. Well, the melanin is being produced by that little light. You see what I'm saying? Now, there's a difference between having, that's your soul. Now, not everything has a soul.
So a white man don't have a soul.
No. Everything on the planet has a spirit. That's why the white people, and they got open talking about the celebration of the spirit. Everything has a spirit. A roach has a spirit. A hog has a damn spirit. A rat has a spirit. A spirit is what moves across. It's the process that moves. It's the energy that moves across the face of the earth. Everything has a spirit. Everything don't have a soul. We're the only ones that have souls because the simple fact A soul was pre-existent prior to creation. Our world is built off of several other worlds that emanates.
When we are looking at that satellite video, we can tell that they are doing a screen recording. It's not somebody who's got a camera who's filming the screen like I would be doing here. That's one of the earliest details that I noticed. And so when the sleuths on social media found out that this was a Citrix session logged into a database because of the mouse is at 24 frames per second that we see in the satellite video, and it comes off the top right of the screen and goes off to the bottom left of the screen, indicating they're looking at a much larger field of view, but they're cropped it down. We're moving the drone so that we wouldn't see that. We're moving other information from it. That's when I went, holy crap. This was a US military personnel who was recording this on a screen recording. They knew they were going to get caught. They have logs for Citrix sessions logging into databases like this. And they leaked this to the world, potentially because they knew the United States would never find it. And I was sitting there one day in October, and I was going, wait a minute, I've got like a psychological profile for the person who would have leaked this. It would have to be a US military personnel. They would be a patriot, most likely, that wants to tell the world. They removed the HUD data and all this other sensitive information. They leaked the first video, thinking that maybe the world will pick up on that first video and they don't even need to leak the second one. And then when we ignore that, they drop the second video as in perfect synchronization. Now you've got absolute proof. We've got coordinates. We've got 2 different videos. So I started Googling, looking up people. It took me about 2 weeks because it's really hard to find some of this information that goes back, especially 7 or 8 years or more. And then I run across Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lynn. I am 99.999% sure this is the guy right away. Every single thing. I've got my spider senses just going off. Signals intelligence all over every single news article about him. The strange case of Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lynn, completely redacted information, charged with espionage, but there's no evidence he exchanged any information with anyone from China. And that was unusual to me because if you think about the person that would have leaked this, the United States government would have assumed that they're trying to help China out, especially if it's an espionage event. But then if they find out that there's no evidence of that because it was just somebody who was trying to tell the world the truth, now it gets really awkward. He was actually a Taiwanese national who had been naturalized into the United States, a guy that we trusted with our military or nuclear weapons. So this was a guy that by all accounts was a patriot. But the circumstantial evidence is extremely damning. He was assigned to the VPU-2 Wizards, a secret spy plane program, in February of 2014, right before the plane disappeared. His lawyer is on the record saying that the investigation into him began April 2nd, 2014, the next month after the plane disappeared. And that's when I went, oh boy, like this is a very narrow window of time, but there's more. It was actually the defense lawyer argued that the classified information in question is available on the internet, which if it's not these videos, why were they trying to get him in life in prison for espionage? And later on, ended up forcing him to a plea deal. And in the plea deal, just for disseminating classified information, he got a 9-year sentence, which is, huge compared to what other people for similar offenses have gotten. Most people with that kind of offense, they get like a slap on the wrist or like a year. They actually had to have people testify as to what he did, why it was so damaging. He was also caught with flight manifests that include search and rescue code names, which to me, this evidence piled together says this must be the guy. So I FOIA'd the FBI and NCIS. FBI wouldn't give me anything. They said it's privacy related. NCIS rejected my FOIA in total. I had the head of legal for FOIA respond back and sign the document saying it's to be kept secret in the interest of national defense or foreign policy. I think what we're looking at here is Lockheed Martin technology. I think that we've figured out anti-gravity. I don't know if we reverse engineered it or we've dug something up and figured it out, or if we've figured this out going all the way back to the Manhattan Project and the Philadelphia experiment. But I think we've got this technology. I think that's our technology. And I think that Edward C. Lynn might not even have known. I think that he might have thought it was UFOs and thought, oh, I'm not hurting anybody by leaking this information to his Taiwanese friends who are allies with us against China. And that they pushed it onto the internet. Regis Adenan gets a hold of it. Then once it's on the internet, that's too late. It's out there now.
The visitors, the Greys.
Oh, you know people that are connected to them?
Of course.
Oh.
I am. That's why I implant. That's what it is.
What? That's why what?
The implant in my ear is it'll turn on during the interview, and you'll be talking to me and to them.
You don't have an implant. You're pulling my leg.
No, I'm not telling you the truth. You don't know about it? You never read the books?
I read Communion.
Oh, okay. You've only read Communion.
I've only read Communion.
Okay, yeah, I have this. Well, I'll tell you the story. I'll just give you a brief preface now.
Perfect.
It was put in 1989. I was wide awake when it was done. It was done by two people. There's a whole lot of people who are connected with the visitors, who are connected with them, and these were two of them. I couldn't use it for years, but after my wife died, it began to become useful, and it now is my absolute go-to. It's like having an unbelievable AI, only whatever's on the other side of it is not artificial, but brilliant. It works with me when I'm writing. At 3 o'clock every morning, I get up and there's a dialogue that goes on. It's not like channeling. It's much more direct than that. It's very direct. And during interviews, it will be working most of the time.
Can you see it behind your ear?
You can feel it, yeah.
You can feel it?
Yeah, it's right here, yeah.
Have you ever had a doctor look at it?
Absolutely. I've got an MRI scan of it, in fact. I'll send it to you on my phone. I mean, a CT scan of it. That CT scan was done by someone in the CIA.
What?
Who wanted it very badly to be taken out, but I wouldn't let him. Yeah.
How did you get a CT scan done by somebody in the CIA?
No, it was done. The CT scan was done privately at his request by a doctor who he called and set up.
Okay. How did a CIA person get to find out about your implant?
I'm known to them, to the IC, to be a legitimate close encounter witness, and they are interested in that.
Why do you think the CIA is so interested in people who have had close encounters?
Well, I think they kind of backed into it because their brief is foreign intelligence. And this is about as foreign intelligence can get. And when the CIA was first founded, the Roswell incident occurred. The Army Air Corps became the Air Force, and the CIA was founded, and the National Security Act was passed, all in the same few months. Mm-hmm. And
this was like July
47? July to October of 47. And so all of the infrastructure was then in place. And I think it was just a very natural thing that CIA would be the go-to agency to study this.
I need y'all to pray for Californians, y'all. I clocked out from work, took a nap, woke up, and it looks like Silent Hill outside. Oh, you can't even see how orange the sky is. Good God. Like that blood red dot right there, that's the sun. That is the sun.
So the rumour mill's going round again that apparently the thing that is keeping this a secret, the UFO and alien thing, is that we are just basically lab rats. We are a food source. They can come and pick us up whenever we want to do that, but they do it in a way where it's not obvious, so our government's probably helping them. Taking these young ones to be fed. And then you've got it's not over when you die. They capture your souls and they put you into a robotic grey or some alien grey body, and you carry on doing the harvesting for them. If this is the truth, I really don't want to know. I don't want to know if that's the truth, that we are just food source and that when we die we're going to get put into an alien grey and then we're just going to go around capturing more humans for us. That is a horrible thing to think about. But funny at the same time that we're thinking this is good for humanity, and then we get sat down and told them like, that's not good, is it? That's not good at all. Hopefully that's not the case, and if it is the case, hopefully there's some good people on this planet that are trying to work things out, getting some technology, shooting them down and trying to fight back. This might be what is going on as well. I just wanted to do this video. It does sound stupid. No, I'm not saying this is it, but you know what? It's not too far-fetched There are abductions. There are people who are missing. There are the blood sacrifices and all that you can think, and all the Illuminati and all the skull and bones and the Masonic things, all that. It's not too far away from being, it could potentially be true, this. And if it is, would you want to know about it? Would you want to know that is the truth, that we're a food source, and when we die, we get put in, our consciousness gets put into a grey alien, and we carry on harvesting for forever? Do you want to hear that? I don't.
The first commercial spacewalk happened this morning with the Polaris Dawn mission crew, with astronauts Jared Isaacman and Sarah Gillis. Some takeaways, though. When Jared went out, you could see they were orbiting Earth and going into Earth's shadow. And by the time Sarah went out, she was in the dark. Now, beforehand, when Jared was opening the hatch, there seemed to be a delay. Even the clock was kind of running over a little bit. I don't know if they had planned on both of them being in the sun side of the Earth or in Earth's shadow, or if they had any control over that whatsoever. But when Jared went out, you could see that shadow coming. And by the time Sarah went out, she was in the dark. However, what a historic first commercial spacewalk for both astronauts. Now, the Crew Dragon capsule was open, so all 4 astronauts were exposed to space. And then they were checking the mobility of the EVA suits. And at one point, Sarah said, the horizontal bars are preferred. And it just looked amazing. What a day. All right, see ya.
Newsflash, if you shop at Shein, Shine, or Temu, Koreans do the most testing of anything I've ever seen from when I lived there. In fact, they caught some E. coli that was coming in from U.S. beef. That's a different story for a different time, but to let you know that, not surprisingly, they have found dangerous substances in stuff from Temu and Shine, and who knows how you say either of them. Particularly the shoes. There seem to be lead levels that were excessive, very exponentially excessive. And the other problem was the PFAS, the polyfluorocarbonated chemicals that are endocrine disruptors and cancer causing, basically bad for you. And there were other heavy metals like cadmium.
It's been a while since we've seen an X-class flare. Right now we're experiencing a geomagnetic storm, and it's possible that you could see the northern lights tonight if you live in one of the northern states. Put your bare feet in the grass. The reason we're having this storm is because a coronal mass ejection reached Earth today. The region of the sun that produced this X-class flare today is only just starting to face Earth, so we'll probably see more from this area over the next week or so. And you guys know how I love the objects.
And you most likely won't be able to have the exit point, be able to finish the game. You'll be back here in the simulation for another cycle, which is probably 250 years to 360.
Let me ask you this. Are all presidents NPCs? And that's...
Did y'all see that?
World War III, Babylon, and Revelation. The person you see behind me right now is Cosmic Man. You guys all know him. Well, the majority of you guys do. This man breaks down the book of Revelation into real-time events that's happening, and is probably one of the most spot-on predictions, explanations, dissertations of Revelations I've ever heard. And with what I know, and with what he's saying, it's pretty fucking spot on. And we're also hearing that 2025 will be the end of our reality. The veil will be lifted. I really believe that. We are into the age of Aquarius. We will be shifting dimensions, and we will go through a birthing pain. And remember, the Bible is a script that they're following, and they're about to show that script. They're about to play that movie. The world is a stage. Go watch this man's video immediately. And after you're done, please come back here and comment what you think about what he said. Do you believe him? Do you believe his example of what the book of Revelation is? Because I'm here to tell you. Yo. Peace to God.
The Cosmic Man, that's his name?
So why is nobody else talking about this? So apparently we are going to have a solar eclipse that will occur during Rosh Hashanah. That is the Feast of Trumpets. You know, the Jewish festival that is known as the Feast of Nobody Knows the Day or Hour. So there's going to be a solar eclipse that occurs on October 2nd at 8:42 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I mentioned the time because there is a coincidence here. And we have the Feast of Trumpets that starts Wednesday, October 2nd. So what I found coincidental, interesting, whatever, is that this eclipse will happen at 8:42 Pacific Time, which will be 6:42 p.m. in Israel. And this will occur right after sunset, which we can see right here that the sun will set in Israel on October 2nd around 6:30. And this article is from End Times News. Is it just a coincidence that the first solar eclipse in 2024 just happened to fall on the very first day of the very first month on the Hebrew calendar? That was the Great American Solar Eclipse that happened on April 8th. And the second solar eclipse of 2024 just happens to fall on the day that is celebrated as the Jewish New Year. Not sure what to make of this, but just pointing out the coincidence. The reason why I bring this up is because I find it interesting, okay? Because the Feast of Trumpets is known as the Feast of Nobody Knows the Day or Hour, which we also understand that same verbiage was used about the coming of Christ, that nobody knows the day or hour. And we understand how Jesus fulfilled the first four spring feasts: Passover with his sacrifice on the cross, unleavened bread, him being buried in the tomb, first fruits when he was resurrected, and then Pentecost, the Holy Spirit coming down upon the church. So now that leaves 3 fall feasts that he must fulfill: Feast of Trumpets, Atonement, and Tabernacles. And the speculation here, by going off of the first 4 feasts that he fulfilled, is that he will fulfill trumpets with the rapture, which makes sense because we have Paul talking about at the last trumpet. With this whole feast, you have different trumps being blown, and this is also known as the one that nobody knows the day or hour. So the speculation here is Feast of Trumpets is the rapture, Atonement is the second coming or the second advent when he comes down on the Mount of Olives to then judge the nations, Israel, and everything. And then Tabernacles is the millennial kingdom where he comes and tabernacles with mankind. Now, he fulfilled the first 4 feasts to the day. So likewise, we could assume that he's going to fulfill these last 3 to the day.
We are getting some reports in now from active duty service members, people in different branches of the military, saying that their higher ups are giving them a warning that something big might be coming to America here on our soil. Now, it's been a couple of months since they said that the American military personnel are no longer safe on the homeland. They've told them to watch out for their neighbors, told them to watch out for people who might be scoping out their houses, told them to watch out for their kids. A lot of things that they don't tell us average citizens because they don't want everyone to be scared or afraid of going out. They want that consumerism to be alive and well, and everybody to be concerned about the election process. And I think that that might have some ties, some hand in hand there. They think that something big is going to come around the time of the elections. Now, we're down to 0 hour here. We only have a couple of months left, and I don't know if about you, but I don't feel the same feverish pitch that they have tried to force feed down the throats of the American populace in this election period or this campaigning period that they have in ones for the last, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 different campaigning periods. They tried to divide you so fiercely because they knew they could, and everybody would just get back to normal the day after the election. I think that they know they took things too far last time. So I've gotten a couple of write-ins from people in active duty right now who have said they've been told to watch out at home, watch out for their family, pass it on to their wives or their husbands to let them know that things might be getting a little bit hairy. Some people are getting a little more prepared and they're buying the food they need, getting some water reserves put together, getting some medicine put aside. And I think we should maybe just take a hint that if they start being concerned, we need to be concerned.
They must really think we fucking slow, lacking knowledge, or just damn right blind. This video I'm about to show y'all, the fucking moon had lightning coming from it, y'all. In what world is this normal? Somebody please explain to me how this happens. TikTok, this is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. What the fuck? What is that, y'all? Somebody in the comments, tell me, is that normal? I've never seen nothing like that, ever. And it was from multiple people seeing it. Multiple. Look, y'all, look. This is crazy, y'all. A whole street full of people looking at this event. What? Lightning in outer space? Yeah, okay. That's not normal.
What's going on with the moon?
Hurricane weather update. September 12th, 2024. Hold on to your asses. Francine made landfall along the Louisiana coast as a category to hurricane on Wednesday, knocking out power to hundreds of thousands and threatening the region with widespread flooding as cities became inundated with rainfall.
This crack, which right now nobody knows how deep it is, opened up from one day to the other in Hermosillo, Sonora, Mexico. To her point, sometimes the ground moves all day and all night. People woke up to this crack, which is miles long. Look what it did to his livestock. He had several animals that fell in the crack and died there. He found these days, if not weeks later, when walking along the crack. In some parts, he could barely see the animal because it's not sitting like this on top of the crack. It's sitting way at the bottom of the crack. But with a flashlight, he was able to see that that's where some of his animals were. This is a farmer reporting on his land in Hermosillo, Sonora, Mexico, where he woke up and the earth had split in two. Some sections were 6 to 12 feet apart. That's a huge animal. And do you see how he fits perfectly into the crack? Something is definitely going on. And there's a lot of movement on planet Earth. Mother Earth is mad.
These rabbit holes, man. All right, I got one more for you today, and then I'm tired. I'm going to bed. The other day I was driving home, and for some reason I kept noticing all the church steeples. And I thought, those are... So I rabbit holed it. Here you go. If you like this content, comment something cool in the comments. I can't even think of what. Surprise me. Okay, here you go.
I don't even know what the fuck to say. I'm completely blown away now. Mysterious UFO crossing the sky over New York City sparks talks of aliens, but there's an explanation. There's always There's always an explanation for the unexplained. How is that possible? I mean, try and rationalize that thought for a second, because there is no explanation for what these things are. There's assumptions, right? Assumptions, but there's no explanation. Well, some people think there is, let's be fair, but nobody really knows. Or do they know? I don't know what the fuck to say anymore. I really don't.
Man, I don't know what to say either. Mysterious UFO, but it's explainable. Sounds like they're trying to cover something up out here. Man, it's a lot of creepy and weird stuff going on out here, y'all. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bells on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.